crypto pirates, Hexicans, how the heck's everybody doing tonight? I know some of you aren't doing too good, and some of you are doing fabulous. Am I good? Am I unmuted? Let's see. Ooh, let's go into the chat room real quick and see what in the heck's going on. Am I good, Bullish? So
you're good.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you setting me up. So again, I'm out of town. This time it's on family business, and I got a nephew graduating from high school out here in Texas. So I am in the beautiful state of Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area, or close to it anyway. I got a lot of people coming in. That's great. We need some Hexicans coming in here tonight because we got some talking to do. First of all, let me just calm everybody down. I'm not going to be an upset captain tonight, even though I am. There's been nothing but stress and strife and some weird shit going on out there. So let me address some of it. First of all, we're in the middle of one of the biggest bear markets and one of the biggest FUD sections that this space has ever seen. We just got off of the biggest bull run that we've ever seen, close to $3 trillion in market cap. So I want everybody to take a step back, relax, stop looking at your bags, and look at history. Look at what's happened in crypto over these last 12 years. Look at how many big dips we've had in these last 12 years. Crypto isn't going anywhere. I don't care what the SEC says. I don't care what the governments say. I don't care what CZ is doing. Crypto's not going anywhere. We've won. True DeFi has finally launched. Launched. Let's talk about the launch for a quick second. We launched a brand new L1, a chain. Your Hex just did a split. So the value has been divided. This is just like in any other market, especially this market that's the most volatile piece of crap market in the freaking planet. We're going to see this. We're going to see these dips. We're going to see issues. We're going to see trouble. We're going to see strife. We're going to see FUD. Look what's happening. Look, let's address the some of the bad press that's out there. First of all, when you do research on any subject, just Google searching is a bad thing to do. You've got to go in and search with a little bit of background information, and you've got to check your sources. That's the one thing that people today don't do. There's real journalists out there. There's real people trying to do real good work. You've got to find those people. One of those people in this space is my good friend, Nicole. We call her Nerd Girl. She's not a nefarious person. She really has a heart for this. She goes out and writes what's going on. She researches her subjects, and she doesn't get paid by anybody to shill one thing or another in her articles. She's even the people that have asked her to write articles, she tells them, hey, I've got to write this from my perspective. I've got to write this from my heart. I've got to write this from what I believe is the truth. And my research tells me. Those are the people that you've got to look for. The people that have been writing the articles lately about Hex are the same old fudsters, just recycled. You can't let that get to you. You can't, guys. This space has been working on getting rid of us from day one. You name it, it's hit us. From other coins trying to be built on top of Hex when we first launched. Don't forget, we had big dips in Hex when it first launched. Day one, boom, out the gate, wham, to the bottom. For weeks, months. And then we had more FUD. We're going to see more FUD, guys. We're going to see more pain. We're going to see more blood in the streets. If you don't have the stomach for it or you've over-leveraged yourself, then I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to bear through it. You don't lose if you don't sell. You get it? You don't lose if you don't sell. And you don't win if you sell. You don't win. Now, some of you may have to get out or panic to get out, and that's what we're seeing a lot of. I told you guys earlier that the sharks and the dolphins were playing in the ocean here. They were the ones that were moving things around and liquidity providing and yield farming. And I'm sorry, I'm in really rough shape. I'll tell you about that in a second too. But the sharks and the dolphins were playing, and they've had their day because now the whales have started moving. Now, let's address that. On top of the bad articles, we've got to not look at the whale FUD. There's going to be whales that make moves, and sometimes those moves aren't going to be helpful. Sometimes they're going to be hurtful. But remember, everybody, whales, sharks, dolphins, squids, you name it, everybody has the right to sell. And everybody has the right to privacy. That's one of the tenets of crypto. Just because it's so easy for us to go in and look at each other's wallets doesn't mean that we should be doing it and posting it publicly. It's okay to give an objective view of those moves, but calling people's names out, that's all very dangerous stuff. Very dangerous stuff, and should never be done. In fact, you're a punk if you're doing so. If you're doxing people and calling people's names out for what they're doing, whether they're selling or they're buying or they're OTCing with somebody else or they're trading with somebody else, shame on you for doing so. Because that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We've never doxed anybody here. We've seen things happen. We've known of what people are doing, but we don't do that in public. It shouldn't be done. I think it's fucking despicable, to be completely honest. And that really fires me up, especially when people get it wrong. When people go in there and start doxing addresses and calling people's names out, when those addresses don't belong to those people, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to everybody else in crypto. I can't believe some of the activity by some of the influencers who are very influential in this space that are doing stuff like that. It's despicable. We won't do it here, and I'm going to call it out every time I see it. We have to grow up around here. We have to quit panicking. It's time to just freaking chill out, everybody. Chill out. We're not done with this bear market. And just because Pulse Chain launched doesn't mean that it's good. And when the whales start moving, some people are going to get hurt. Some people are going to get completely wrecked. I said it earlier before the launch. Sometimes not doing anything and just sitting back and watching what's happening is the best thing for you to do. Those of you who have made gains, there's a lot of people that did really well over these last few weeks. And there's a lot of people that have gotten wrecked, that have had to get completely out of crypto because of the moves that they've made. So everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own time horizons. Everybody has their own income abilities or disabilities. And again, if you've over leveraged yourself in a space that is the most volatile thing on the planet, that can go down 97, 98, 99%, I'm sorry, you pushed the button. You pushed the button. Richard didn't push the button. Richard isn't to blame for any of this stuff. Our new L1 isn't to blame for any of this stuff. It's you. Blame yourself. Remember, every time you point the finger at somebody else, there's 3 pointing back at you. 4. Well, 3 and a thumb. So, guys, please just calm down, relax, go do your thing. And the other thing is, what else? We're going to be a little more careful on the FN. We've been having some trolls come in, and we'll probably have them again. But we're going to be a little more cautious of who we bring up. I wanted to bring everybody up all the time, give everybody a chance. But this space has gotten so crazy that it's getting ridiculous. And what happened last week, I don't want to happen again. So if you're not a known face, if you're not part of the known community, I'm not going to bring you up. Sorry, that's just the way it's going to be until we can, figure this all out. Let me say hi to everybody real quick. Gosh, there's a lot of chat in there. Great. I'm not going to go into it, but welcome all of you. You know who you are. You guys have all just been phenomenal helping us out here. Before I bring everybody up, I want to tell you guys one thing. I've been I've been missed this week. I haven't been on stream. Have a little medical issue going on. I've completely lost the hearing in my right ear, and it's a slim to none chance that it is going to come back. So it's caused a great deal of stress with me and my family, and I'm not a pleasant person to be around right now. And on top of that, the nerve in my neck has gone out, and I'm in excruciating pain going all the way down to my fingers. So that all happened back in Miami. Thank you, Kareem, for the night in the club, because it blew my eardrum out. But they said there was something else going on that was just helped exasperate the problem. So I'm having to do this. I'm going to need one of those horns, I think, pretty soon. But anyway, so I'm not a 100% captain yet, and my back is absolutely freaking killing me. I think hyperbaric chamber and stem cells is the next thing that I'm getting ready to go do here in this next week. And thanks, Melt Tony. Appreciate you. And thanks all you guys. I appreciate your support. Always have. That's why I'm even running tonight, because I know that you guys need a place to talk. You guys need a place to vent. You guys need a place to listen to sound voices in the community, because even some of our more popular streamers, our more knowledgeable streamers, are starting to pass along some jacked up information. So I just want to address that and give you guys a place to come, and hopefully, I'm going to start bringing some folks up. Let me see here. Boom. There we go. Hey,
yo, buddy.
Bring up Cowboy. Oh man, look at my boys are coming.
Oh, no.
Who we got here? Let's make sure we get Cowboy up here. He's only got a few minutes, and he's got a little something to say. And I'm glad Johnny's here too, because me and him been talking. We need to get some more sound voices up here.
Who's Cowboy?
Cosmic Cowboy, is he in there?
Not in here yet.
Okay, he said he's going to be coming. When he comes up, make sure we get him in right away, because I can't. It's a little hard for me to pull it up.
Yeah, Cosmic can always show up proactively late. I'm sorry to hear about the health issues, sir. Hope all is well. And then what's going on, Johnny? You're always master of chaos and a dear friend. And what's going on, Roger, man?
Oh, just watching the crazy happen. That's all.
I've been on the road with my relocation and everything since they laid off 80% of my studio I was at the day Pulse Chain launch. So that's been an ordeal. Especially I was moving 8 days before that happened, so that's been an even larger ordeal. But I'm playing some Diablo with a friend that's housed me the last week till I get my keys in Austin tomorrow.
It's like the universe is converging against us right now. And remember, guys, this is the stuff that forges Hexicans. This is the stuff that makes us stronger. I'll tell you what, when we come out the other end of this one, man, this community is going to be the strongest thing that anybody has ever seen. Anything there, we already are. Wait until we really get our legs under us and start seeing a bull run.
It feels like 100%. Just like Big Payday. It feels just like Big Payday.
Right?
It's actually a glorious thing.
AA launch too.
Hey, there you are, Cosmic. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Cosmic?
Aloha, everybody. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. You got some good words for us, brother. I know you've got a few.
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, if you guys are up for it, I'm always here to bring the strange, the non-ordinary. But I'd like to invite everybody watching this stream and everybody on the stream to send some healing energy to our captain. and I can show you how to do that. If you take your hands, we've got a lot of nerve endings on the hands, and you just rub your hands together. Just you should feel a little bit of heat in your hands right now.
The coat now.
And then hold your hands in front of your camera and just send some really loving, positive, healing energy to the captain, to his family, for his ear, for his hearing, and just for his health and well-being. This is who we are as Hexicans. We care about each other. We support each other. We love each other. Sending you healing right now, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
And on that note, I think the whole community could use some. So we don't have to stop at the captain. I mean, I think there's been a lot of craziness. I've only got a few minutes right here, but I just wanted to come in to say, let's not forget a few key, really important things that we all know, but sometimes we need to be reminded of. One is, this is the nature of life. Like anybody who has been alive and had any life experience knows, life is a roller coaster. It's all about riding the wave. It is not always good. If it was always good and it was always all celebration and everything was perfect, you probably would not be in this reality. That's just not the nature of this reality, nor would you be able to appreciate it. You have to have the lows. You have to have the challenges. You have to go through it in order to evolve and be stronger, and then therefore appreciate the highs. And the second thing unique to our community is, again, just in terms of this symbol that I'm wearing right here, forget all the other new exciting things that are happening and we're just born. I'll get into that in a second, but just in terms of Hex, it is an immutable code. And if you've ever celebrated Hex, if you have ever been happy about Hex, there is no logical reason for you not to be happy in this moment. That's up to you. Our inner reality creates our outer form. It is not about the price. It is not about the price. I repeat, it is not about the price. It's about the inner reality. We have an immutable code. It's worked. It's worked from the beginning, and it will continue to work. And the only reason the price is going down, we can go into all the specifics, but we all know that's how crypto works. When a lot of people sell more than are getting in, that's what happens. It's not the end of the universe. So I just want to tell everybody, just take a deep breath and remember it's an immutable code, and it still can be celebrated right now. And as the captain said at the beginning, it's going to be way up again. It's just, you got to ride the wave. And the other thing in terms of Pulse and PulseX, just think of a baby. When a baby is born, what happens? There is a crowd of people at a hospital. They're all trying to get hands on it. There's medical personnel. Everybody wants to nurture that baby and just make sure it can breathe, that they're not going to drop it, that they can protect it. It takes a while for a baby to get its legs, to get it situated. It needs support and to be nurtured for a while. And that's how it grows into a healthy, beautiful being. That's what our new things that are born right now are going through. So those were my basic messages. Just give it time, be patient, and remember, everything's all good. It's always all good. It's up to us. Love you guys. That was my message for the moment.
Love you too, dear buddy.
Very good, man.
Good words.
And Johnny, good to see you. I always appreciate you. You're always spitting wisdom. I don't get to see you on stream a lot, but I just appreciate you, brother.
Well, thanks,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been trying to stay off the Twitter as much as possible. I've been trying to stay off the streams. I am here because the captain summoned me via direct message. So I say that it's funny because, like, I'll get the trolls in the conversation. They're like, "Oh, Johnny's going on tour again." No, Johnny just wants to sit back and do nothing. But I get triggered. Unfortunately, I get triggered, and that's when I come out. So
yeah, but when you get triggered, it's speaking truth to power, sir. There's not many people that can actually articulate it as well as you do, and a lot of people get scared at the silly things and don't actually listen to the real heart of what things are going on. They're just triggered. They're not actually thinking.
Well, it's a problem because when you try to explain anything complex, it's like there's like a mute button, right? Certain words just get left out. and it goes immediately to Johnny said that the OA would do this. No, Johnny said that the OA could do this, and Johnny also said so can a whale.
Correct.
Johnny did not say this is what's going to happen by the gospel of Johnny, and you must follow what I said. Johnny said this is what you look for, and these are the factors and how they work together to play out. If you see this, it might mean this. If you see this, but no. Just Johnny just said this, and that's the part I'm going to focus on, and that's the only part I'm going to hear, and it becomes a problem, right? So it's like, why say anything at all?
I feel you there because people half understand anything that I said.
I have to understand most of what you say, but that's because you're so damn bright. You're talking on a level that I'm not understanding.
Well, it's my pedigree of what I've done before is I can see the systems within systems, and like bare bones. If
we lost him.
Uh-oh. We heard bare bones right when we got bare bones.
He's gone.
I'm sure he'll be back. Here he is.
The thing with Kool-Aid is he spends a lot more time with computers than people. I think he speaks more computer, and I speak less computer. But he's a real smart guy. Does all kinds of cool stuff that I don't understand, and I find it interesting to be around people where they have abilities that I don't, and I think that's awesome. I think that's what's really cool about our community is there's a lot of people that do a lot of things, a lot of different things, and if those are things that people are interested, could make them a stronger person. I think that's awesome. Nobody has all the answers, but together we could probably figure something out. Hey, Kool-Aid.
Peter Blitzman me to death. But what I was saying before, if we look at just what happened, we now have split all of our economic energy into many of different ecosystems. Yes. And if you're not understanding what each ecosystem does mechanically, then you're not understanding what everything is doing inherently as a whole. Between PX and EX, two different engines.
Let's take a piece of what you just said, Kool-Aid.
Yes, sir.
And realize that financial energy hasn't left the system. No. It's being divided into the system, into the roots of the system.
Yes, sir.
This is the beginning of a new L1. There's a whole new hex out there. Everything has been split and divided up. All of our value has been divided up into the roots. Remember that. It's making strong roots to the whole system. This isn't a bad thing. It's an ugly thing, but it's what has to happen. It's like, you get capped. And the doctor's got to go in and tear your innards up and move things around and pull that bullet out. That's what's happening right now. We've got some serious pain from the dividing of all of the financial energy in this system. And there's a lot of projects being built that a lot of people are putting a lot of financial energy into. So it's taking it away from what we have. So think about it that way also.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Captain. I'm going to hop back on my computer now that I'm up, but I just wanted to quickly pop in to continue the thought as I was saying it. It's not that it left the system. It's now, as Cosmic was saying, has different children. And all those children kind of reset a little bit, not in form of measure, but in form of impact. And because people are demanding that an influx of liquidity comes in immediately, that's ludicrous. You have to take it as the baby steps that it is. Ethereum, in its beginning, didn't have a DEX built on it. It didn't have a community built on it. It didn't have all these applications being built on it. All of these things are different weather bending things that allow things to now come to fruition. And none of the economic energy is co-located into one vessel. It's in between many vessels that support each other and a community that supports each other. So, and you also have the fact that people with bags can be playing PSYOP whale plays to get you to freak the hell out and sell your bags so they can scoop it up because they understand the long-term value. Again, Cosmic's my onboard, and the one thing I teach all of my onboards is 2 years no touchy-touchy because you need to give a child the ability to get its legs to run. And because everything now, pivoted into its own ecosystem together, 2 years no touchy also goes into play when you're looking at how it's going to evolve together. Let me hop on a new computer. I'll be back in a few seconds, gentlemen.
Thanks.
I'll
Thanks,
give you the
Tom,
quick
for the super
translation. I'll give you
Appreciate
the quick translation of what Kool-Aid said. I planted my trees 2 weeks ago. Where's my apples?
Yes.
I want apples
Yes.
now. Win apples, right?
And don't forget, we planted a whole orchard of those things, and a couple extra orchards sprung up and wanted us to divide it into it. So there's a lot of new seed out there. A lot of new seed.
That's the key. I think the key is, if you've got fear, don't do anything. It's exactly what Johnny said. Do nothing. You're scared, do nothing. But this is the best opportunity to DCA and build your bags. Now's the time, really. When the market's dumping, just go and gather as much as you can with your dry powder.
As
Bullish,
the
can you
new
pull
kid
up
on the,
chart?
hey, how's it going, everyone? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. But just
What's
to
up,
add to that, as the new kid on the block, I'm not worried. I'm not making any rational decisions. I see this as opportunity, and the truth of the matter is, some people are gonna make it, and some people are not. That's just how it works.
That's the way it works.
I'll be back. I hope to be back later, guys. I got to jump for a little bit, but I love you. Stay strong. And just remember, our inner reality creates our outer form. So if you're good on the inside, it's all going to happen in due time on the outside. Love you.
Love
Take
it, bro.
care, Cosmic.
Thanks, man.
Hey, Bullish, can you pull up charts? Are you able to pull up like the hex chart and zoom back to like the beginning when we launched?
Yeah, give me a sec.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
happening? Good to have
this
you
is-
with us, bud.
This is so reminiscent. It's so reminiscent. It's like people used to, we had a long time when, when we were high up at, 40 cents, you heard the evil OGs, oh, those bastards, it's like they don't understand how hard it was to buy at these levels. Like, it's not easy. It's grueling. You don't know. In fact, right now, you haven't known. You know that Hex at one point in time hit 50 cents. We didn't have that then. We were told it wasn't going to a penny. It couldn't go to a penny because market cap would be too high. We were talking about shaving fractions of a penny. People were like, no. I got to wait until it's, goes down another 200ths of a penny before I can buy. I mean, that was the big deal then, right? And I mean, we didn't know that it was going to go anywhere. It hadn't been done. It hadn't been proven. It hadn't shown us anything. We had to really trust that the system was going to work. Zoom in at the very beginning there.
Also,
it doesn't
Bullish,
have the line down, does it?
Would you mind pulling this link up too, so we could play it later?
Yeah, I mean, look at that drastic drop there, right? And this is not even like the launch day. When launch day happened, we did nothing but go straight down. Yeah, zoom right in there. Let's go into the show people what it looked like at the very beginning, and so they understand, because it was not easy. I mean, look at that straight drop right there. Does that look familiar to y'all? Look at how hard that came down and how hard that came right back up. Does that look familiar to y'all? Do you see that red candle there? That big, fat, red candle that does nothing but go down? And then it was followed by a green. You see how quick that spun around? This is what you're looking at, right? Do we know the green's coming? No. Nobody knows. But it's what happened.
93% drop.
So what, Bullish?
93% drop.
93% drop. Right out the gates. Brand new. Nobody knew nothing about it.
Nobody knows shit.
That. Go ahead, Captain.
Nobody knew shit back then. We didn't know that was possible, but we kept going. We kept streaming. We kept talking about what Hex is, because Hex still is Hex, guys. On no matter what chain it's on, it is still Hex. It is still the most immutable most decentralized, I should say, most decentralized way to draw yield from crypto. And it is the tool of all tools. And people are going to use it no matter what on both sides. And eventually we're going to come out of this bear market and things are going to change. This bear market is affected so deeply. In the bull market, my phone was ringing off the hook of new projects to get involved with, new investments to get involved with, projects going on all over the place. I couldn't get to all of them. And that all stopped. It all slowed down when the financial energy started pouring out of the system and people weren't able to do the things that they wanted to do. Look, even the sharks and the whales and the dolphins they're crushed. We're all 90% down. We're all 90% down. Plus. So
you think it's hard being 90% down on $10,000, $20,000? Try doing that on millions.
Yeah, $100 million down to a couple $1 million ain't a good thing. It's tough. So everybody's got to bear through it, and when the bull comes, be ready for it, and do the right things in a bear market that need to be done. That is, and thanks, Hex Kong, I appreciate you, bro. You got to be prepared for what's to come, and that means either DCAing in or sitting back and doing nothing, especially selling. If you've got a small bag, you do not want to get out right now and screw yourself. We should.
I mean, if you look at the ratios of
guy, you don't want to be that guy.
I mean, if you would have DCA'd from the 50 cent down to the 3 cents sideways over what, a year, whatever it was, you'd be sitting pretty on your bag if you bought at the top, and you have that financial leeway now with where things are what it is, because now everything kind of becomes a fledgling again due to the economic energy being spread in between. So if you do have the ability to invest in a little bit, just like we did in the beginning, it turns into massive layers later on down the road. But you have to realize in the beginning of Hex, we didn't understand what a T-share was up to big payday. 6 months of research, all of us, to really get that granular level of how things work. Well, now we've got so many different protocols being developed and deployed on Pulse. We understand the difference between Uniswap, which we made popular, and what Pulse X is going to do. We've got other people building even different DEXs. We have people building different interoperability, multiple bridges, fiat onboards. I mean, hell, when could we have gotten a fiat onboard to buy Hex? Never would have happened before. So you have to look at the writing on the wall of where everything's coming as a whole and not at the price on what it is at the moment, because you don't get a chance to buy the Google IPO before Alta Vista, AskGees, and Yahoo went under. And we now have the tactical knowledge between listening to people like RG and Johnny and all the other people that are talking sense, not just talking to speak. And that always annoys me when people want to talk, complain, but yet aren't identifying the true vectors that are happening in the ecosystem. And look at the world of crypto between Gensler and Coinbase and Binance and all these other variables. But we understand tactical value of what is actually going on, what we have, the interoperability to apply it, and what it does. And most people are only looking at prices.
Yep. Well, that's the key. I think it's really giving some direction for newcomers and to sit tight, hold, DCA, and accumulate, and then start researching opportunities to stack. Yield farming is risky, but staking Hex and other opportunities. Make sure you mint your hedge run before you unstake. They're the game plays that I think people should be doing. Is locking, maybe look at ladders for staking. But really just sit tight. If you're scared or have fear, do nothing. And then
See, I'm not a fan of the sacks in general, because that does potentially give your Hex to potential scammers. I'm not a fan of the sacks. If they want to, people want, it's become the new way to run ICOs. And
not stat. Sorry, not stat. Not sack. Stack. Stack. So
stack.
like
Okay.
ladder, laddering your stakes. Not sacks. Hell no.
No. Okay.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of scams coming out.
I'm not a fan of that. I think
No.
this is, at this point, projects need to be proven before they get the money.
Yeah.
One thing
that's
I've
really
been-
how I'm feeling about it.
One thing
because
I want to talk about something real quick here that's actually more important as far as what's going on here within the Richard Hart ecosystem. So, Vic, thanks for the comment. Let's hope Gensler doesn't try to come after Hex anytime soon. So,
they would have tried.
here's what I want to say about that. If you notice where their attention 6 months ago, 8 months ago, was on DeFi and regulating DeFi. When I was in Washington, D.C., a little over a year ago, their attention was on DeFi and actually licensing the exchanges. That's where they were. Like, they were straight up, you guys are evil. This is the horse we're going to ride. We're going to license them and create a licensing protocol within the government systems to help them, not you guys. You guys are the evil ones. Now, the reason for that is because they can't control DeFi. They have zero control over it other than shutting down the internet. And that's not going to look good for them, especially during an election year. That's not going to look good for them because of how the people feel these days. That's not going to look good for them in a recession. That's not going to look good for them as the dollar's getting crushed. And crypto is a solution. And crypto wasn't a solution until now. Now we have true DeFi. We have exactly what Satoshi said could come. We have an L1 that you can program crypto on and utilize it. Literally use it now. We also have Hex, which is better Bitcoin, faster Bitcoin, safer, more secure Bitcoin, and it generates yield and it gets rid of the mining bullshit. So Richard has gamed the system with PulseX being the DEX that nobody has to worry about somebody having to go to jail. CZ has got himself into deep shit. Why? Because all of these guys have been taking your money and leveraging it against you. And then in the bear markets, they've been having to shut down because of bank runs. People come and try and get their crypto out. So they were doing the exact same shit that the banks were doing. Now that can't happen. Now it's self-custody. Now it's sovereignty. Now you have to learn how to operate within that system and not get crushed by the whales, because the whales are the ones that are going to be making the moves, and you're going to have to operate from within that system. So if you don't understand that system and the farming and all those things, which are very valuable tools, you need to learn how to use them. But don't just go stuffing your money in there, because it's their game right now. And this is a very volatile point in the ecosystem. So be very careful and understand that. And Richard's going to say a little something about that right now. Go ahead and play it.
A lot of people wake up unhappy, and it doesn't matter how well they do. They're still unhappy because they're focused on how well they didn't do, right? So that framing control, it's super duper important. You know, like a positive frame would be, we're going to the moon or we're getting cheap coins. You're happy either way. A bad frame would be, look how much I didn't buy, you know, I should have sold. And they're both like, they're all accurate, right? It's just one leaves you sad all the time and one leaves you happy all the time. The happy has a lot of value. You know, if emotional excellence, if you don't pay attention to your emotions, you could get lucky and they work out and everything's fine. Or, you know, you could get unlucky and you just kind of waste your life away. Meh. And that would be a tragedy. So you should definitely cycle through bouts of great joy. And, you know, every emotion is built to perform well in a certain time. So you're supposed to cycle through them. So it's like walking upstairs. You're not supposed to just use right leg only. You go right, left, right, left, right, left. You oscillate. You know, you sharpen your tool, you use your tool.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. You sharpen your tool, you use your tool. If your tool isn't sharp, sharpen it. Go learn. Watch videos.
Well, I already experienced I didn't buy enough back at that chart that we saw there, and that's why I'm making sure that I'm loading up now.
It's a beautiful
That's not
opportunity.
advice for everybody else. That's what I'm personally doing, and I'm going to say this. This is for money that you're going to blow anyway. Okay? Do not over leverage yourself, because we don't have the answers for you. We can't tell you when it's going to pump, when it's going to take
Nobody
off.
can.
If it's going to pump, okay? Right? These are the same situations that we had back then when we took a chance and said we think this thing is going up. All right? Same situation. You don't get any bonus information. The only bonus information you get is the fact that we've seen what it can do under the right circumstances. And before, we didn't have a clue. We had only seen what other things had done. We didn't know what Hex was capable of, only what other things had done, and then compare those things and say, this thing sounds really good. Nothing has fundamentally changed here. So you have to make the decision for yourself on whether or not you believe it's going to exist, if you believe this is an opportunity, or if you're just ready to tap out. That's up to you. And you know what? It's a lot easier when you're not in a position where you have to sell. And how do you get in that position? By only using money that you don't need right now, that you can afford to send to your future self. Not be in a position where you have everything that you have and you're waiting on paying your bills and you're hoping that you can get to an exchange that may or may not be closed due to the restrictions that are happening right now, right? To get that money out. You might sell your Hex, you might get it into USDC, you might get it to the exchange, and then the exchange puts it on hold because they're frozen because of the situations they're going through right now. Okay? So you cannot plan to do this shit in a millisecond. You need to plan to be able to weather the storm when these situations happen, because exchanges go down all the time. They freeze accounts all the time. They stall your money. They lock your money. It's a terrible thing. Okay? You cannot be dependent on doing split-second judgments in crypto. That is what's going to get you wrecked. You need to be in a position where you personally do not need to sell, and you have the luxury of time to wait for the price points that either come or they don't. But you have the luxury of picking the price and not being forced into a situation where you have to sell because you got to pay your bills.
Yeah, Johnny, just to dovetail on that, people already pay Social Security, which if you're in the more older class of people, that ain't happening, is dead. People are already putting their money into 401ks that may or may not exist based on what the greenback does or anything else. Yep. Why are you playing with your 401k or your Social Security, theoretically, wink, wink, on an instant notion to try to get something? You don't. And you are already paying into those systems based on what kind of career you have, but you're definitely paying for Social Security that you're not going to get. And if you're thinking on that instant mindset, why would you buy a cup of coffee with your 401k? All these different paradigms is you're not using the tools for the method, the mythos, and the utility and what they're designed to do. And if you think about an investment retirement vehicle for you and your family and longevity, why are you looking at a 3-week window of when something is brand new?
It's a scratch off, man. The crypto space is full of gamblers. They have not been listening to what we've been trying to say about building a future and saving over time. They haven't been listening to that. They get drawn in by these Hex guys made a lot of money. Let's get our lottery ticket too, right? Just like saying, well, this did this. This is going to do this. Oh, we're going to get an instant 10x. Then we're going to dump. Then we're going to. Well, you know what? Everyone's got a plan until they get socked in the mouth. I think that's a favorite Mike Tyson phrase, right? Everyone's got a plan until they get socked in the mouth. Well, you need to prepare if you're going to get in the ring that you're going to get socked. You're not going to block every blow. You're going to get hit.
Yep.
And when you get in crypto, guess what? I'm sorry, but you got hit. Now, what do you do with that?
Yep.
Are you going to toughen up? You going to toughen up? Or are you going to bitch out? That's what you got to do. You got to figure out.
Yep.
Well, remember, you only get hit if you sell, and the easiest way to sell is not to have paper hands, and the easiest way to not have paper hands is to get a hardware wallet, because that will block, is the easiest way to block signing a transaction and clearing out your position. It makes you think that extra step, do I want to sell? Whereas with your MetaMasks, it's so easy to just click bang and you've exited, and it's what have I done?
Well, before then, you could just very simply pretend like that money's gone for the next 2 years. Tell yourself you set it on fire. Tell yourself it's gone. Tell yourself it ain't coming back. Go about your life and come back.
I mean, I've said it almost every time, and I continue to say it. 2 years, no touchy. That gives you halfway in between possibly a bull and a bear cycle. But more importantly, regardless, like you said, it's burned, just like you would deposit it into your 401k or this air quote Social Security that I've been paying off for 22 years as an adult that I'm never going to see. So you have the opportunity to actually understand and set yourself above the cart and the horse by actually just taking the time to do things that make sense, which is invest in yourself. That's through knowledge. Ideally, as Hexicans, we teach people why, not just point and say, buy this. We teach people why, not what to buy. And the reason why we can do that is because we understand what's under the hood.
Hey, you guys like my shirt? Check this out.
I do love cuddling demons as a proper Chaos Lord.
Yep. One last thing on my last thought about CZ and Binance. There's something going on, and it's aimed and directed at us, at DeFi. True DeFi is here. It is here. And that scares the shit out of them. And they're in trouble. They're in big trouble. If the biggest exchange globally has to fake their numbers in order to try and beat or compete with us, then you know there's trouble in paradise. The reason that CZ was able to do what he did to FTX is because he knew the game, because he was playing that same game. And he's still playing that same game. And it's in a bear market. And he's gotten caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And he's aimed his attention at us. You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
You can see some of these articles that are coming out right now, and who
They're paid for.
They're the fake ass writers that are out there saying some ridiculous shit. Some of it is the same old FUD that was around during Hex. The same FUD. And they're recycling it because they've got no other game. We beat them. We won. We won when Hex launched. And now Richard has gamed the whole system. Crypto is real now. Crypto is really what Satoshi envisioned. Now you can do everything that you need to outside of the system, and even outside of the crypto system. Don't forget, they built a system within the crypto system and screwed all of us. 99% of those coins are garbage. The decentralized exchange has turned into bad banks. Why? Because they have no leadership. They have no wisdom. They have no knowledge. They have no understanding of real markets. These guys are plebs. These guys are 20 and 30-something-year-old idiots who are out there trying to run multi-billion-dollar businesses on things
Selling
like
six
QuickBooks.
figures.
You got to take a look at that, folks, and see what's out there. There is no leadership in this space. There is no integrity in this space. They've totally taken what could have been a good thing, and they've destroyed it for 12 years. And now Richard, the wiser of all of them, the better manager of all of them, the better businessman than all of them, has finally said, well, if nobody's going to fucking do it, I'm going to do it. And God damn it, he did. And it took him 6 years to do that. 6 years we watched Richard work on this. From from the last 17K Christmas top Bitcoin freaking dump to today, Richard has put together everything that we need to really crypto. We can really crypto now. And that's
if he
what
can't do it, no one can.
That's what needs to be looked at. It's really here, guys. It's really here.
I mean, when I came across text, that's what I was about done with this space,
Same here.
And then I saw what Richard was building. I said, if this guy really does what he says he's going to do, then this is going to work out. You know, it brought hope back into the crypto space. And then we got jacked by Ethereum with the S-load functions and everything. And Richard was never adversarial. He said he's going to help Ethereum. He's going to reduce their gas costs. Guess
he never
what?
said fuck Ethereum. He said
Guess
we got
what?
to change this, and we're going to help them.
He reduced the gas costs on Ethereum. Have you looked at Ethereum? It's under 20 Gwei. He did. He successfully reduced the gas costs. And I tell you something else for people that weren't here pre-2017. The ETH killers did not do well.
Okay.
You know, I still don't like it when we as Hexicans say the terms Hex is a better Bitcoin. Hex is kind of its own thing. And I don't think we need to throw that out there, because all that does is that throws salt. And once you say Hex is a better Bitcoin, they can't hear you. You lost them. They're gone.
I don't care what the crypto space thinks.
I know you don't care what the crypto space thinks. But I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying.
They're biased. They're biased.
You lose them at that. But the Ethereum killer thing didn't work out well for any of the Ethereum.
For anybody.
Nope. And back to the Binance thing, I wonder how much information we've actually provided, because I see a lot of the stuff that we've said being quoted. For instance,
yeah, we probably opened our mouths too much and given too much alpha away.
For instance, the fact that, you know, the lawsuit against CoinMarketCap demonstrates how they have literally manipulated numbers to benefit their own coin.
Yep, right at the launch.
Right at the launch, they did that. And the fact that there were a large launch of articles that could probably be traced back to funding from Binance writers. It sure certainly seems like the latest CoinMarketCap ones have a lot of similarities to previous articles now, doesn't it? Yep. It also appears that, you know, when somebody pointed out that Binance was 99.45% owned by the top 100 wallets, within 24 hours, that was distributed to daughter addresses. Yep. And it's also funny that not only has CoinMarketCap hidden Hex from page 1 all this time, but all of a sudden when Pulse Chain launched, the Binance scrambled to make their chain look like it had more activity than it did. Right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of shady stuff going on. A lot of shady stuff. And it's interesting that they're looking into it. And do I feel bad about that? No. I don't feel bad about that at all.
I think it's also interesting that of the things that the SEC made a security, 2 of them are metaverses and one's a video game. How are you going to make a video game a security? Like, as someone that does this for a living, what are you going to make a movie a security now? So if I go to the movie theater to actually watch the next Pixar or whatever, I'm now particularly, Magic the Gathering, 100%. Now that's a security.
Yeah, man, I got to tell my kids they can't trade cards anymore. They got to record it all and report it to the IRS now. I mean, it sucks.
We got
to log all our comic book collections and everything else we own digitally, and all those tokens that we get in those video games that we play online and those online casinos, because that could be money. It's digit accounts on a screen, right?
I mean, when you play
Monopoly, pretty damn ridiculous at this point.
It's ridiculous because when you play Monopoly and you pass go and you collect $200, do I need to inform the IRS of when I do that?
You better inform the IRS that you're collecting Monopoly money, man.
I know.
You got to owe them their 30%.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I play Risk, I'm clearly going to war with global thermonuclear warfare, like I'm playing war games from the 90s. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
it's pretty ridiculous. They are slightly out of their league as far as what they're trying to do. And I know, if they come across this to be like, well, you know what? It's like they want to shorten the sentence in the letter of the law to fit their needs, right? Well, it went up in value. Yeah. So did Magic cards. We bought a shitload of those. We were just playing a game as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
We did not know that they were going to go up in value. Was it possible that they could go up in value? Yes. My Dr. Pepper went up in value. It's now $3 a bottle instead of $1.50. I didn't buy
the baseball cards you got in bubblegum back in the day.
Yeah, right? Baseball cards, bubblegum card. Trading the baseball cards. Yeah, I mean it's pretty interesting. And they'll say, well, it went up in value. Well, you know what? Anything that you buy with the inflation rate goes up in value. Try to find something that doesn't go up in value right now, according to the US dollar. Please try to find something that doesn't go up in value. Shit,
I mean,
hold on.
cars
It's
went
not
up in value. You
it's
can
not
drive a
going
car
up in
off a lot,
value.
turn around and sell it back to the car lot for more money than you bought it for because the inflation is so bad because of their screw ups.
Correct.
Right?
The
So
dollar's
everything's
lost the
secured, man.
value. The dollar's lost the value. Like a
Yeah.
liter of milk hasn't gone up in value. It's just everything's gone down in value.
Up in
that's where
price, yeah.
Dollar's gone
That's
down.
where the issue is. That I can see everything moving to alternative assets so quickly that the dollar's really going to hurt. You know, when the gold standard was decoupled from the US dollar, that changed the world. Now, when the petrodollar ceases to exist, I think there's going to be some major economic issues globally, not only in the States, but globally. And it's going to be very interesting to see how, crypto
is.
fits into this.
And
Well, I
there's,
mean, if you look at if trading cards in a video game could be a security, then buying houses are 1 trillion% of security, because those are the real way that you manipulate and make value is flipping houses. So how are you going to take investment vehicles like one that you live in? Oh, the profit is you sleep in the work of others. I mean, clearly someone built this house for me, so somebody did some work to get this here. So how is buying a house, using it for
we've beat
utility?
the what ifs on that a million times. It's
I know.
obviously that's
Hold
why
on,
they're going
hold
after
on,
the
hold on.
exchanges now, and the low hanging fruit for them
Hold on.
is
There's a bigger one than this. Why aren't they going after the loyalty points with all the loyalty programs on the credit
It's the exact same-
cards?
of course.
That's bigger. They're not doing that because they're backed by financial institutions.
Well, and
but,
that's also because we call cryptocurrency, and I think that's the biggest problem. And we shouldn't be calling it that.
Yeah. Correct. They're technically another form of points. Okay. If you can buy goods with points, they should be taxed. Okay. It's as simple as that. If you can convert these crypto points from one medium to another, it hasn't actually gained value.
No value.
It's when you actually withdraw it to the bank.
And the only problem with that theory is that most of those points you cannot trade, sell, or redeem for something else other than the product that issuer has.
But if I draw a picture, does that mean I'm taxed on the value of whatever that picture is now worth?
Only if it's a pony, Johnny. Only if it's
I'm
a
telling
pony.
you. I mean, but see, if I trade that picture with somebody else for 2 pictures, does that mean my picture is now worth 2 pictures? So it's worth the equivalent of So it gets pretty silly. And what they're doing with cutting up the law is like saying things like, oh, well, you contributed to a common pool. Yeah, I also put a penny in a penny cup at the gas station too. Is that contributing to a common pool to help others out? Yeah, it is. Is that a security? I don't think so. Is donating to a jar or donation jar contributing to somebody's health care because you see someone's got a thing? Is that a security because you took some spare change and put it in the jar? Or donating to McDonald's kids for literacy or whatever? Is that now a security too because you're donating to a common pool?
Or even
so
throwing
what
into
they do now is the part where it is donating to a common pool in expectation solely from the work of others. And what they do is they just chop up these little sentences and they take the definition. They're saying, well, it goes up in value, so it's a security. Oh, you put it in a common pool, so it's a security. No, that's not what the law says. That's what you would like the law to say. The court is going to look at the law as it is written. And there's a reason for those words.
And think about this. The Hex Investment Trust is a registered security.
Yep.
The Hex Investment Trust is loaded with Hex. The SEC allowed that to transpire, and it even investigated the Hex Investment Trust forensically. And guess what? It's still operational. They didn't shut it down. They didn't say no. It is still operating. So that tells me something. It's a big sign. It's a really big sign.
And words are important. Is a basketball and a football the same? They're both balls. They're both played in sports, but are they the same? Even a red ball or a blue ball, they're both balls, but they're different, right? So there's a reason things have descriptions. There's a reason why you can't just leave words out as you see fit to fit your narrative. There's a reason why the law is written as it is and defined as it is with the words in the order that they are in order to describe something, to create that clarity that makes something different from, just the common pool or just something that goes up in value. There's a reason for that.
Real quick, I'm going to have to get rolling. If everybody can stay, I'd like you guys to continue the conversation, and then maybe Kool-Aid, you can text me and let me know, and I'll shut the stream down a little later. I've got to go. I want you guys to continue conversation, unless I can just shut it down now. What do you guys want to do?
It's up to you. I'll hold off and we'll shut it down. I'll be communicated when things roll down. But I think we're having a good conversation.
Send me a text message. Guys,
yeah, I got you, buddy.
Johnny,
Captain.
Thank you for coming, bro. Roger, thanks for hanging out with us. Kool-Aid, thank you. All you guys, love you. Stay calm. You won. You're winning. Don't get yourself in trouble. All right, guys, I'm out. I'll see you.
Take care of yourself, Cappy. So, Johnny, to your point, let's take two different variables. A, the securities law was written in the 30s where they didn't have the internet. They barely had cars. They barely had planes. And they're now using this law right of litigation that was actually written down on paper when now we sign things on computers. Or secondly, Gensler said, we already have digital currencies. We call it the digital dollar, the digital yen, the digital pound.
I actually like that. I actually like that because they admitted what a farce the system is, and they admitted that there isn't actual physical dollars backing those digital units of account.
Correct.
In fact, I wish you would take it one step farther and realize that if everybody went to the bank today and said, I want my cash, it would take 1,000 years to print it.
Yep.
It used to be 320 years.
Jesus Christ.
But guess what? They upped it. So now it's 1,000 years. Running the presses 24/7, 7 days a week, printing $100 bills at full capacity would take 1,000 years. Anybody got a millennia to wait for their money?
Right.
Because it is a digital unit of account. And when people understand that everything is a digital unit of account, it's not far step to say, wait a second, this digital unit of account that the government prints has an inflation bug. It has admin keys. It has pre-allocations. They have VCs. Right?
Well, on top of that, if you're going to say that we're holding the Howey test of things that were written in the 30s, well, the dollar was actually physical back then, as you were saying. Yeah. So you can't actually shit in one hand and out the other because nobody gets paid shaking the money tree with a rake and sticking it into a bag. Because if you walked in with a bag of money, they're going to get questioning where it came from. So, you have to look at the logistics on the back end across all the boards. And either if they want to update what the real course and causes of a security versus a commodity, again, like the stuff we said way back when, if I plant a tree and it bears fruit, is that a security? No, it's a commodity based on me farming. Is that work on me?
But you planted expecting yield. You get yield from the tree. Don't you know that tree's a security?
I know.
This is why these definitions are important. But you know what? We're not. What we're looking at with cryptocurrency is it's a picture. It's a picture and a unit of account. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have value until it hits your bank. It has perceived value. Just like artwork has perceived value. It doesn't mean you necessarily get that money out of it. And it's only valuable if you do sell it, right? If you don't sell it, then it's just something that hangs on your wall.
I mean, that's 100% right. As we know as artists, if we don't sell our craft, it doesn't have the value except to a perceived audience. I mean, I loved your talk about the masks on how if the mask is too cheap, nobody wants it because they think there's something wrong with it. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is that we're getting spoon-fed with fiat. Is there is something wrong with it, and we're okay with it because it's just the thing that we eat and the thing that we live in, regardless.
Well, it's the thing that we've been told that has value, and that's what we accept, right?
Correct.
And perception of value with Hex is an important thing to look at right now. People are not valuing it. That's why the price is down.
Well, they're also valuing the price and not the value of the T-share. I said it way back when.
Yeah.
T-shares give you Hex gives you the ability to get on the T-share train. And there's many other trains, parts of the train that have been evolved, like Casahedron, things that have been airdropped, different ecosystems that are bending and binding onto the T-share. As things move forward as well, multiple things will bend and bind to the T-share because it's a mutable yield that can only go sideways or up. So it is almost a time clock of value that allows you to look transparently through all of the tools that Hexicans have written to look at all of the abilities and obfuscate any confusion. There's no way you can wash trade a T-share. There's no way that you can do anything except look how it moves, and then you can look into the future of what stakes are coming new and what it will do based on that. Or when someone EESs, who that has T-shares sharing what pool.
And you know what they care about is price going up.
Yep.
You almost waste your time getting this in depth with the general audience in general, because they just want to know if the price is going to go up. They want to know what button do I push to make the price go up. It's called the buy button. You stop hitting the sell button, you start hitting the buy button, and guess what? Just like magic, guys, guess what happens? The price starts going up. When there's more sellers, than buyers, the price goes down. When there's more buyers than sellers, the price goes up. And it's great that there is all this application to Hex, but if people aren't utilizing it the way that it's intended to, it's just treated like any other coin.
It's again the same reason I've always said the worst thing about making games is dealing with gamers. They think that if they buy something for $50, now you have a fucking opinion that actually you think it matters. Just like if you buy a $8 burrito from Chipotle, you're not Gordon Ramsay. Shut the hell up. Like, you're not. I'm sorry. But like
that's
in
the key
gamers,
where the problem is. That you've hit on the head. That's where the problem is in this market. It's the gamers. They're expecting to play a 5-minute game and get a return. Yeah, that's not how this works.
Correct.
It's the price is a function of sell. More sell, price goes down. Less sell, price goes up. And availability. At the end of the day, I think what we're seeing is people want a 5-minute game and get a return. That's not how this works, and that's what people really need to understand. This is a function of time, not time over the length of time. So,
and Meltoni, do you ever notice that regardless of what price you put down, it's about 0.004 of a dollar difference? Did you ever notice that? It's still about 0.004 of a dollar.
And it's funny when you, and that's a funny part when you look at 0.004 of a dollar and people are not buying, or if they can buy, they should be buying or DCAing in, because anything can happen at a moment's notice. This comes down to volume. Like what happened with eHex and that God whale, more Hex came onto the market and cleared the price out over time.
And the thinness of liquidity too. So it's volume and the thinness of the liquidity, or the thickness of the liquidity.
Something people also need to understand is, first of all, you're looking at that 800 million Hex and you're thinking, what would I do with it if I had 800 million Hex? There's a reason you don't have 800 million Hex, because what you would do with it would be why you don't have 800 million Hex. So you got to start thinking from a different perspective if you want to understand that. Second of all, Hex launched 500 million Hex per day for the first year. 1 billion on the first day. 500 million Hex a day came onto the market. Well, if that's the case, guys, why isn't Hex like Hedron prices right now? Right? Shouldn't it be like Hedron prices right now if everybody just dumped? Right? So we have absorbed 100 million, 200 million, 300 million. Time and time and time again, it gets absorbed and the game moves on. Hopefully, that 800 million gets distributed to smaller players and not just given to another larger player to sell at another date. But we can't guarantee that. What makes me sick about the price right now is that haters can come in and buy 1 million hex for $10,000. That makes me sick.
Yep.
Because we've worked for it. We've held. We've put the time in. And now
Lived
any
through it.
hater can come in and buy 1 million hex just by dropping $10,000 and have that 1 million hex and then sell it at a later date on our heads. I don't like that shit. That really annoys me. But for the new people, that gives them an opportunity that they might not have gotten. You know, they're looking at OG prices now going, I don't know. It's still going down. You know, it's like, dude, we've been through this before. We've done this before, and we didn't know that hex could break a penny. That was moon math. You guys don't understand. That was moon math. Everybody and their brother was up in our faces saying, but the market cap would be too high. You know, every day, man. You think the FUD articles are bad now? You know why they don't bother us now? Because, like, yep, been there, seen that. Yep. They paid another writer $500 to talk smack. Yep, same nonsensical arguments that we've heard for the past 3 years. Yep. Nothing new.
I just like
here.
the Spam Master one because, like, shit, how many VoIP telemarketing calls do I get a day? Back in the day, we had direct marketing where you had to use a mailbox. Now they just call you from a VoIP phone and from
And
India.
text message.
Yeah, I know.
I get 30 a day, man. I don't even answer my damn phone anymore. You can't call me unless your name shows up on my phone. I won't answer.
I have it things blocked. If you're private or anything else, like and I can see the number, it may ring. If you're doing anything else, it just goes to voicemail because I get 30 or 40 or 50 a day. And how is that spam mastering? Whereas, this one time in Bandcamp, somebody set out direct marketing to Washington.
This one time, Richard got a civil suit for $500 and he paid his traffic ticket instead of bothering. Here's a check. Don't waste my time. Yeah, that's what that comes down to. It's like the equivalent of a speeding ticket.
Or like AOL or CompuServe fucking CDs back in the day. You know what I mean? They just mailed that stuff to you. Or what was the music one? God, it was the one that you got CDs.
Columbia House.
There you go. Columbia House.
House. We're gonna give you 8 tapes for a penny, but you gotta agree to buy 20 tapes at like $10 or
whatever it was,
or something. Whatever.
Same thing. But yet that's not spam mastering.
Hey guys, when does Gensler go after the penis pills and health pills?
I know. When
the securities.
When the boner pills are security, because there's definitely going to be
scammers and fraudsters, man.
Got a question, guys. Has anyone shared any resources or tools to help the community lock their investments up? Like, we know T-shares, but has anyone actually shared any other resources before you exit your T-shares, mint Hedron?
I mean, I think all of us have ad nauseum talked about it. It depends on if they've watched the streams. Now, I think there's plenty of tutorials on it back in the day. But actually, what's interesting, Johnny, have you paid attention to Tetra at all?
No, I have no idea what that is.
So Tetra is really, really interesting. It's visual scripting on the blockchain that basically allows you to call function calls to handle all of your methods. So, for example, Red Squirrel's been writing flow graphs forever on how you can do something. And I was just on with Lit, My Life is Awesome, with the review of Stu for his UI. And what's interesting for all the rest of that is visual scripting is part of my day job. I can do 100 node chain branched and forked in my head without thinking about it. And if you use Tetra to manage and mitigate your stakes, you could have a drag and drop node that says do all these things. So it would query your stake, and there's a lot of stuff on protection, security. It's absolutely fantastic. But you could make a WYSIWYG node that would immediately get your communists if you had to mint your communists, mint your Keytron, end your stake, send you an alert when your stake's coming due. Very interesting ways that you can not just automate, but script what you want to do with your utility. For example, compounding your ICASA, compounding your Hedron, doing arbitrage in between EHEX and PHEX, mitigate your let's say liquidity farming, because realistically, if you're liquidity farming between any RH token, I think somebody may write some interesting stuff with ink. Just saying, someone may do that. But you could even balance all the rest of that stuff up when you're a particular profit region, buy the lesser of the three that's down the most, and immediately take that and stake it, whether you're using Pulse X and Earn, whether you're using Pulse and Liquid Loans, whether you're buying Liquid Hex, whether you're using to buy HSIs on the auction with Hedron. All of that eventually will be automated through something like Tetra. But at the end of the day, it's up to the people to do their own homework. That's how Johnny and I and anyone that's been here 2-3 years have gotten to where we have, because we didn't have those tools. We just had Hex.Vision back in the day, Johnny, or something like that.
Hex.Vision was good. Hex.Live was great because you could like literally analyze everything everybody was doing, and then that kind of got taken away from us. But it was really wallet watching. And you know what? So here's the thing. A lot of this complexity is just confusing to the new people, you know? Like I said, their brain is, okay, what do I do? In fact, that's the problem, is a lot of them want to know, what do I do? They want to be told what to do, right? And they're looking for somebody to tell them what to do. Look, I want to be like you. What do I do? What buttons do I push, right? And then sometimes they'll get themselves into like validating, right? They don't even know what they're doing, but they want to get into validating, and then they end up doing something and losing their 32 million because they weren't really qualified for that position. But it sounded like the cool thing to do, so they needed to jump in and get into it. So I think sometimes this added complexity isn't actually healthy for the new people. And it's great for the geeks. It's great for the people that really, you know, for me, I'm simple. Look, I stake my Hex. I have it way out. I don't need anything automated. I'm not going to need anything automated for quite some time. You know, I don't have to interact with the blockchain daily. I don't want to interact with the public daily or Twitter daily. You know, I don't want to do any of this shit daily. I'm like over this. I got to do something daily, because that's the thing. People want someone to point and tell them what to do. But here's the problem, right? You point and tell them what to do, and they get confused, and they don't have all the information, or they don't have the level of comprehension necessary. You're at fault. They're going to blame you. Whether you're not really at fault, but they're going to blame you. And it's the same thing, you know. Even when I'm explaining concepts or something, people only hear the parts and words that they want to hear, and they form that to their narrative. So you got to ask yourself, it's like, at what point is it even to your benefit to tell anybody anything? You know,
I have that golden rule, because my golden rule with all of my onboards is they're never allowed to listen to me. They're allowed to only listen to the people I deem is good to start. That way, when they learn a bunch of stuff and spin up their vocabulary, then we can talk. Otherwise, right, I'm immediately talking over your head. And if I tell you to do something because I told you to do it, you're going to use it as an excuse to not do the homework. You know what I mean? It's like if your mom is the principal, you're not going to do your homework because you can get away with fudging something at the last end. They're not going to fail you. You're cheating. Now, I do agree with complexity in the beginning is a little hard, but the question is where do you want to exist? In algebra forever, or do you want to eventually get to Calc MIT? You don't have to. You can take
most people don't. They flunk out of algebra, Matt. So,
I'm not saying, but it's not for everyone. But the difference is the rest of us innovators that are building on the ecosystem. It's the same way that Richard gets frustrated listening to people who haven't done an iota of homework. He gets frustrated explaining things to them, and it's hard eventually simply where he'll call them a Riri or something like that because they haven't taken the time. Does that mean that you need to take part in the most complex part of the conversations? Because if you talk to me, I'm going to immediately point you to Coffee or someone like you that spits out simple stuff and gives tutorials and classes, or we've already built that for the last 3 years. The content exists. If you want to take part in the more tertiary teething of what's innovating in the future of the space, you probably should start at the beginning. But right now, people want to power level themselves and hang out with the people that are breaking the trends rather than learning how if you're going to hang out with, let's say, race cars going around the track at 200 miles an hour or truck drivers moving with 80,000 pounds, you probably should know which side of the road to drive on. Plain and simple, right? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I know you want to get up to this Harvard or more sophisticated level, but if you don't understand how to move your security, what gas in a transaction is, what actually interacting with the contract is, all the rest of these simple things that technically ChatGPT can tell you if you ask it, what exactly, why are you trying to fast track yourself when the easier thing is learn what yield is, learn what immutable code is, learn what a network effect between Metcalfe's law and Moore's law is, and understand it.
You're expecting a lot, man. So here's the thing I throw out there, okay? You don't need to build an engine to drive a car.
Correct.
You don't need to know how to program a cell phone and put in the resistors and solder a circuit board to use a cell phone. And most people are never going to build a cell phone, okay? You build games, but if I gave you a pile of junk and I said build a cell phone, can you?
It depends.
Sometimes that's what you're asking people to do, right?
No, the difference, it's the same thing as you don't know what you don't know. So saying do your own research. If you don't know what you don't know is just as much of a hiccup on top of each other. But when there's plenty of us that have put forth the old content that has it, and people still rehash it all the time. Every time I listen to you, Johnny, you go back to the basics, which is why I love it, because you'll also maybe or may not sue CoinMarketCap at the same time while you're telling them to go back to the basics. So it doesn't mean that you only operate at the basics. You're just obfuscating that maybe this is where you should start. Well, I'm going to go handle this over here and go slay a dragon or make a dragon in your case. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that no one should ever understand what a dragon is, because it's a fairy tale concept. They exist. And
I get that. But here's the problem with complexity. Okay. The problem with complexity is the unknown generates fear.
Yep.
Okay. We've already seen people panic and freak out because they don't understand what 800 million hex coming onto the market means. It doesn't mean really much, is what it means.
So again, I've been traveling. So BankX is an exchange, right? God Whale sent 800 million there, essentially, right? And so he's providing liquidity for that exchange to now sell Hex on a sex. Is that right?
No. He sacked X amount of money and they sold like 20 million.
But so he's sacked for BankX essentially.
Yeah. And they sold like 20 million, which is not a big deal. And it's not the big whales that are the problem. It's all the people that are trying to front run them that is trying to make predictions. And then they're what if they don't sell? What if it's a fake out? What if you've just gotten out of your position? What if the price doubles? Because Hex at this price can double in a candle. And
easy. It depends.
They don't take that into consideration. You can get faked out. You can exit your position, and Hex can double on a candle, and you lose half your bag.
Yep. And so, from what I understand, also the BankX people are RH fans as well. But again, like I've been obviously traveling in life and all the rest, so I haven't been paying attention. And apparently, there's something that happened last week I got to catch up on. Apparently, something against Nerd Girl, and Nicole was one of the best of us with the building bridges, because there's a difference between tribalism, which it takes a tribe and a village to build a child, and maximalism, which means that you don't even understand the food you're eating. You're just going to scream at a wall like an old man screaming at a cloud for no reason.
The thing with sociologists is they classify groups, and that's funny because I just classified sociologists as a group, right? But I used to pick on her about that. Is because you do group things and you do group people and you do group with bias, right? And not everybody is the same or has the same goals because they're part of us, because they're part of the community, right? People have different jobs. People do different things. They don't all think alike. They don't all act alike. And I don't agree with just classifying things and just saying, oh, well, that's just tribalism, or oh, this group does that, or oh, this thing is the whole. I didn't even agree with the label Hexagon initially because I didn't like the fact that that was kind of like a private elite sort of club thing. But some people like that idea, and it's good. It's a good marketing. It's a good marketing thing, right? Because everybody wants to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves.
Correct.
Right. And that is what is kind of a driving force. You know, we've got people in the Hex community that wave their flags and say they're Hexicans, and then they'll get on Twitter and they're absolutely vile to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? You know what happens? And I'm going to say this. There are people that are not Hexicans that are wearing Hexican logos, purposely going out there and saying vile things so that people look at us and go, oh, you're one of those. You got a Hex logo. You're vile. All Hexicans are vile, because people are simple like that. They make those connections and they group things in that kind of structure. And I'm not saying Nerd Girl is simple. Don't misconstrue that. I think she's really bright.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I appreciate it. But I'm saying people in general will start grouping and categorizing and stuff. And that's why I've always said, you know, look, if you're a vile human being or you're causing shit or causing trouble, I don't care if you're here wearing a Hexican logo or not. I don't care who you are. I am completely unbiased about hitting that block button. I don't care. Right?
Well, me as a game dev, like, I hate
I'm not here to work for anybody.
Well, even like, again, as a game dev, the worst problem is gamers that troll, that don't realize what we go through to get here. The thing is, the people hating on the OGs that weren't here in the beginning, right? That weren't here doing the hard things when we didn't even barely had each other back in the day. And so they haven't suffered to get the reward of understanding and clarity. And for the new people, it just means it's time to do a little bit of homework. And it's
go back and watch the videos when we're arguing over a hundredth of a penny. Go back and watch those videos. We're like, oh no, I've got to wait. Nope, you need to move. And you know, it's funny. It's like people do remember. It's like, look, we've been here the whole damn time. People are like, oh, Johnny, you were trying to sell Hex at 40 cents. No, I was cheering Hex at 40 cents. I wasn't telling everybody gotta go buy it right now. It's cheap. I'm saying it had capabilities, but you know what? That's what they remember, right? They don't remember the fact that Johnny was making videos with diamonds and saying know what you hold when it was a fraction of a penny. No, they don't remember.
I want one of those diamonds one day, sir. I remember that shit. That is fantastic, because it's actually correct. The diamond is what you hold in your hand, not what it's worth to someone else's. And that diamond is actually knowledge, utility, mobility, and using all of that together as you do something. I mean, again, as a practical effects artist, I can run sprites and particles in Unreal, but the OGs are the people that used to actually spit fire with gasoline, the people that do practical effects. You know what I mean? The people that really bend the metal to make something work. Instead of just
viewers at home, do not put gasoline in your mouth and spit fire.
Do not do that. No, do not do that. Use white gas if you're going to be a fire eater. But yeah, you should do nothing of that. Not financial fire advice. But
Roger's just sitting there like, Jesus Christ, what did I get myself into?
I'm gonna go have a cigarette. So I'll be right back. Roger, you come on in and fucking take lead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's a good perspective. So for people that don't know, I'm based in Australia, so seeing the perspective from the other side of the world is actually really interesting. You know, what we're seeing here happen in the States is I'd call it pandemonium, with, you know, inflation and a few of the crazy things the sec's doing. It just seems like they're ostracizing the general public. You know, a lot of what we're seeing here feels like manipulation, and it's really interesting to see how that's actually going to trickle down globally. Impact, I think, will really be astronomical, and really getting off fiat currency is probably why what will trigger the next bull run, to be honest. I can see some big movements happening, and just keep DCAing.
Yeah, we've been here before. We just didn't have a map of what it could do before, and I think it's really interesting. Now look, some things don't go back up. XRP did not break its last all-time high. It didn't. You know, it didn't go up to $3 this time around, right?
That's true, but they're holding the big bags, so a lot of the big coins are controlled. You know,
all of them. Every successful ERC20 token or any coin that has ever been launched, there are whales in every single coin. Every single coin. You people, you know, the people out there need to understand. If you're scared of this one whale, that owns 800 million Hex, you need to understand he's not the only one. They're out there, and it doesn't matter which coin you go to. Okay? All the coins, look up any coin you want, any ERC20, you can go on to Etherscan, you can click tokens, right? And then you can click that token, and then you click holders, and you will see. And Hexa went out and put out this list that says, that all ERC20 tokens in the top 100 wallets are like over 90% owned. Why is that? Does anybody know why that is?
I think it's like if you look at BNB, it's really controlled by mainly the exchanges and the
because if nobody has any coins to sell, the price can't go down. If they can just buy up the circulating supply at whatever current price is, and they have enough money to back that, the price can't go down. So yes, they can make their coin look really, really good. And if you hold one, they'll buy it back for that value. But that doesn't really mean that the market cap is what it appears to be, because the market cap is based on the total number of coins. But you know what actually matters? The amount of coins that are actually on the market, and the amount of coins that are actually being sold, and not the ones that are being wash traded or traded between wallet to wallet to create a value. But see, you don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that until you look up that information. And it's funny because Hex was actually punished for the transparency. It was punished for the transparency. Instead of us lying and creating a pie chart and saying this amount of coins is allocated to marketing, this amount of coins is development, this amount of coins is supposedly locked, but it isn't really, and can be sold and dumped at any time. But we're going to say that this amount of coins is locked, or we're going to say this amount of coin is for the treasury, and this amount of coins is for So they make these beautiful pie charts, and they make all these excuses, and they're still owned by the top 100 wallets, and they have control over it, and they can move it anytime they damn well want. And you are basically just trusting that these other tokens aren't going to do that. So once you understand the game you're in, and you understand that you're being lied to anyway, you got to come to the conclusion of which narrative do you want to believe? What do you believe is going to prosper? What do you believe is going to work? Because that's really what it comes down to, your belief. And if you don't value what you hold, why would you expect somebody else to come along and buy your bags if you don't even want them yourself?
Or fake governance, like MakerDAO is owned by 5 people. You know what I mean? And they're technically called a DAO. So, you got to look at the proof in the pudding. Hey, guys, I got to run and walk to a store real quick. Are you going to be around 15? Or, Johnny, can you text Captain if you wrap this up so we can shut it down?
Yeah, I got kind of ambushed and left here. He texted me. He's like, Johnny, you got to come on the show tonight. And I'm out. You guys keep on going.
I mean, do we want to wrap it up, gents? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Where's Bullish? Did Bullish leave us too?
I think it's just us in the weeds. We're the children of the corn, Johnny.
Anyway, guys, I guess leave you with anything is just don't freak out. There's whales and everything. There's always going to be big movements. If you are controlled by your emotion, you're controlled by fear, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot. If you're in a position where you can set it and forget it and leave it and not over leveraged, then you're going to be okay. Okay? Because you're able to walk away. You don't have to follow everything. You don't have to listen to everybody. You don't have to watch every stream. You don't have to do everything. Okay? You don't have to be in this coin and that coin and have some of this and get some of that. If you just hold your position and wait, things will get better. But if you're controlled by emotion and fear, and you get worked up when somebody's screaming this or that, or EX is going to die, or this whale's going to dump, or don't be on this side because don't be on that. If you're going to let that stuff bother you, you're not going to make it.
100%. And yeah,
I
Johnny,
didn't spend my past 3 years spending my time here when I don't have to, watching y'all fail on chain, because that upsets me.
Hey, but Johnny, I think you're one of the best voices of reason One of the few that I will always listen to, because I can speak complex things because that's how I think. But you always speak exactly the most simplest point and act on the most simplest resolve on what gets things done. And I happen to know what your background is, and that's not simple. However, doing this is on what you exactly need to do to pull things off. And if you take the parody of what Johnny says and just digest it, you can make things more complex and or have more understanding. But if you just understand the simple truths, you have exactly everything that you need. The T-share will always be the GOAT. Hex is the only thing that gets you the T-share, and the T-share has all the mechanics, both within reward and punishment, to give the air quote pumpamentals or mechanics to make things work. And it's up to you as a user to understand how you want to cook your food. Do you realize that the pan's hot and you get burned? Okay, that means you're never going to cook again. Okay, that's your own folly. If you want to EES and then suddenly you lose all your coins because you didn't know the rules. But if you just take the rules that you say you're going to do, like show up on time for work. If you didn't show up on time for work, you wouldn't have a job. And so like at the same paradigm, just listen to the simple stuff. And again, like Johnny says, you don't have to watch every stream. But if you've done enough homework that you can and you're hungry for more, then do that. That is up to you as a human being to take sovereign responsibility of your own knowledge. And knowledge is the most expensive token in the world, and it's never given for free. You have to earn
But
knowledge.
be aware, it's okay, guys. It's okay if you don't understand everything.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to understand everything. You don't need to understand everything. You do not need to know how an engine is built or build an engine yourself to drive the damn car.
Correct.
And sometimes when you go down this path of really trying to understand the deep complexities, what happens is that we as humans are default fear. It's a primal instinct that's in each and every one of us because that was primal for survival, right? You stick your head out the cave, you get bit off by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's okay to be cautious about sticking your head out the cave, right? You know, and fear can be a very healthy thing because it can keep you from doing things unnecessarily, right? It keeps you from doing stupid shit, right? But the problem is sometimes beyond that stupid shit, you have to go through the stupid shit to get the rewards, right?
Correct.
You have to make it across that obstacle course that you know you may get an injury going across that obstacle course, but the prize is on the other side. And sometimes you got to make that effort. If you don't make the effort, you never know. You will never know. You just have more unknowns. Yep. So if you're scared of unknowns, guys, the worst unknown you're never going to discover is what's on the other side of that obstacle course if you don't
Correct.
take a chance.
And to quote Dune, fear is the mind killer. It is the little death. When I put this fear behind me, only I will remain. It is up to you to put yourself through the fear to realize that the only thing you're fearing is failing. And if you don't do anything, you already failed.
You automatically fail.
Correct.
Well, you know what fear stands for? False evidence appearing real.
I'm sorry, say again, sir?
False evidence appearing real. Fear.
Yep.
Self-fulfilling prophecies too, right? If you get everybody all worked up that something's going to crash, guess what? Everybody's all worked up. They all think it's going to crash, so they all react together like a hive mind. And then they do the same actions that cause that self-fulfilling prophecy to occur. You know?
That's right. All right, guys, I got to fly. I'm going to shoot RG, so he'll probably come in and check and shut down the stream second. Johnny, an absolute pleasure. Anytime I get to listen to you, I always take the time because it's always refreshing because you are always a breath of fresh air. Roger, it's a pleasure to see you and talk to you for the first time. We'll hopefully talk soon. I pop around. But gentlemen and everyone watching, I hope you had a great night. I'm in the process of a whole bunch of shit, so hopefully I'll be stable here soon. And everyone take care of yourself. And again, just don't freak out. Take care, guys.
I like that. Yeah. That's great. Don't freak out. That's the perfect conclusion, right?
Don't freak out. Do nothing. If you don't know what to do, the best thing is nothing. Just sit and wait.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know that RG is going to end this thing, so this might be
probably not. Yeah,
might be running, but I'm going to ditch. Nice to meet you, Roger.
Likewise, Johnny. Take care. Have a good one, and be safe, guys. Take it easy. See you now.
You can have like moto sushi and I'll put this outside.
See y'all.